What up, traders? What up, investors? Ken here from Dyslexic Investor, and thank you for tuning in for another fantastic live stream. Today, we have quite a bit to talk about as I adjust my screen here. We have a smorgasbord of so many earnings this week. It's actually quite insane. Of course, we have the Tesla pizza party coming out tomorrow. We have AMD, Microsoft. Just look at this list here in front of us here. This is all just the larger companies all reporting this week. Of course, we have Apple, NIO, Amazon, Mickey D's, everything. Everything is really reporting this week. So it's and it's like from the top stocks from all the categories. So we'll definitely see on what happens. It's going to be a very busy week. There's going to be quite a few videos and updates to go forth without, because again, every single day, even the before the bell earnings or the morning earnings are substantial here. Because again, Albertson, that's fine, whatever. But coming in Tuesday, we have UPS, 3M, Crocs, Raytheon, Hasbro, Waste Management. You know, I love that dividend stock. And then, of course, after the close on Tuesday, AMD, Microsoft, Pinterest, Alphabet, Visa, Starbucks, FireEye. This list goes on and on and on. So it's going to be a very fun week. Without further ado, we're going to try to be looking at some charts. My plan is to potentially do chart breakdowns in the morning to potentially look at potential price swings and moves for the top 4 or 5 stocks that could be closing out that following day or that next following morning. So that's going to be what my potential goals are going to be in that. Looks like a couple people have already joined the live stream. Thank you for that. Ryan as well. Colt is asking for Tesla up or down. I think, again, Tesla, it can be up and down, left and right. It's a very volatile stock, so we're definitely going to be looking at that one within a fine-tooth comb. Of course, with having the pizza party tomorrow, potentially going to be shooting for around like 4:15 to 4:30 Eastern Standard Time to get that ball rolling. Because again, I think the conference call doesn't start until 5:30, and it's Tesla, so it's going to start around 5:35. And most of the times you have a lot of fluff in the beginning. They might have to deal with some board stuff or just talk about some of the things like that. It's kind of not the most fun. I think usually Elon talks within the first 30 minutes. So that's always very keen because I always like to hear the outlook and what he is, some of the words that he's using and things like that. So yeah, let's go ahead and just move that to the side here. We can start looking at some charts. You can just see that I have been looking at the old Bitcoin, looking for, again, this thing has pretty aggressive bounce back here at 47. I had a bounce at 46 potentially, and that thing has kind of bounced back here quite substantially here. So that's always a good move. And you see me moving around a lot. I'm actually using my sit and stand desk more now. So or the standing part of my desk. So I'm not as fat as usual. But let's go ahead and just look at Tesla. We can kind of do that breaking down here, because again, that's going to be the one, really the first large earnings coming out this week. We did a video here just about a couple days ago on Friday highlighting the potential Tesla move, and of course nothing has changed from that. The earnings expected for that week is still around the $60 to $70. So that's going to be a fairly large move. Again, it closed at around 7:30 on Friday, and we're looking for, again, we add like $60, $70 to that. That would be kind of putting it to potentially trying to touch that $800 range, which we haven't seen for quite some time. We did see a little bit of push up back. We all know and love that Tesla hit that $900 range, has kind of failed here, and has kind of been a little bit lackluster due to the fact of people focusing too much on the 10-year yield or whatever, people just taking risk off the table and not really allocating that much capital to potentially some more risky investments, which again, I don't think Tesla is as risky as some, but it's definitely a very volatile stock. So if you have a very a light stomach and not able to take a lot of jerking up and down, it might be a little tough ride for you for a little bit. until it starts clearing some very key ranges. That very key range we're looking at is around 900. And then to the downward side here, we're potentially looking for around 880, which is again the 89 EMA, and to extreme cases around 650 to 660. And those are fairly large ranges there. But you have to remember it's Tesla, so if they literally just give bad guidance or saying that they're not going to be able to meet their 1 million delivered cars this year, that can really take a pretty significant hit on the company, and it can really drag things down because, again, Tesla has been somewhat on a tear. Of course, hearing about on their updates on the Berlin factory, on the same note of seeing on how many cars are being able to be pumped out of the Shanghai plant, and then also some news about the Cybertruck, the Tesla semi truck, and all these other components, and of course the Roadster, which has been getting a lot of questions about when that's coming out, because that was the Cybertruck was supposed to be up and running in late 2021 to early 2022, but it's Tesla, and they kind of move that ball around pretty loosely in those frames there. But yeah, that's basically, again, if you tune in tomorrow, we're going to definitely have a fun live stream on discussing all things Tesla and really just enjoying that conference call all together. Looks like Omar, what's up, my friend? Let's look at FB. Yes, the old Facebook. I think Facebook has been very much beaten down. I know there's a lot of allegations on Facebook on Apple. If you're using an Apple device, mostly the phone, which again, I think it's like 80% of the people who use Facebook are on a phone, and Apple's going to be kind of locking off the tracking of the cookies between different sites and how that reports back to Facebook. So that's potentially could take a lot of the revenue out. So we haven't really seen the significant damage on that quite yet. And of course, Facebook is always in the headlines, always in the crosshairs regarding about being called to some kind of stupid Senate hearing committee or Congress to talk about whatever, about their role in the election, to their role in silencing people. It's just constantly going on and on, and they're all somewhat valid points, but it's just like there's no progress being done. We've seen this for how many years now, but that's definitely something to be interesting to see. So they also have earnings this week as well. We're seeing here potentially a basically just call it a $17 move. So that can easily break it into all-time high. And then also to the downside, we can kind of potentially see it break below the 34 and test the 150 or the 55 EMA around that 287 potentially, which is again around the 287 to 285 range if we do get a pretty large slam in Facebook. The last couple quarters have been kind of like little blah downward movements. You can kind of see here on the chart here. There again, the last 3 earnings reports, or so the last 4 earnings reports, 50% of them have gone up. So that's where my whole flipping the coin scenario comes in. It's not, I didn't make that up, but it's basically the whole prognosis of, hey, earnings is really much, if you're just playing strictly earnings and you're buying calls, you're really playing the gambling game, in my opinion. The more easier way and not the most risky way is potentially selling premium into earnings or after earnings to collect that premium, and of course doing that again, being more conservative investor. So that's what I would potentially be doing, and the things that I'm going to be setting up for this week, because again, this board is fully loaded and I have plenty of cash on the sideline to deploy to potentially collect some premium coming in this week. But Facebook, yeah. Facebook, again, if it has fantastic earnings, that 315 potentially can easily break out. If we go look here on a weekly chart, Facebook has broken out here the past 2 or 3 weeks and has kind of failed around that 315 range. So this trend is still trying to breaking up, because again, we had this pretty tight consolidation here within Facebook, basically from, what is that, the summer of last year until basically just about a month ago, has been a very much just kind of capitulating back and forth and just not really going anywhere and not seeing anything kind of impacted. And then finally kind of breaking out of that box here. In the sense of this trend here on the weekly chart, the first line of support is around 300, basically 300 to 288, to potentially that 290 to 293 range there for the Facebook to kind of continue seeing hearing this trend. Some longer trend support is going to be coming down to that 280 range for the old Facebook. I'm sitting on the 650 puts for this week. Are you selling those, Colt, or you bought those for a credit or a debit? Hey, Ken, could you cover some of these that have dropped 30% in the last month? EDT, SEN, and CF, yeah. Yeah, again, those are those larger far out trades. Not saying that they were not fortunate less of happening, but like for instance, like SENS, this has gone parabolic. So I'm still surprised that it's still up this range. It hit off that 175 range pretty significantly on that 200 EMA here in the daily chart, but this thing is still in a downward trend. On the comments that I made, a couple people that posted on the YouTube, that 234 is basically the level we need to kind of see a break above. Since it has been in a very much downward trending market here, again, you're seeing that 5 and 8 below the 21 EMA, the ticks are below the 50 SMA. It is not a really great pattern. You see the purple parabolic SER dots above the ticks. So this is all just kind of making it sloppy. Not saying there could be a once in a lifetime movement where some data or some news comes out and it just skyrockets, but more in the sense of this thing has been beaten down. A lot of people got into the stock, a lot of people thinking it was going to go to like the BNGO. So I wonder what that is doing. BNGO. That's kind of doing the same pattern here. Like, look at this. This is just literally the same pattern. This is the problem, and I hope I'm not picking on you, Dave, of just like a lot of folks are just like, I'm going full bore on this because it's got great technology. I'm like, great. The story just has to kind of, there's a certain point where the stock can go completely parabolic, but if the story, the company, and all the earnings does not start catching up after 1 or 2 quarters, things like this happen. So this parabolic moves can stay for months, even years at times. But this is very difficult to see here, this kind of pattern here. Again, trending lower. It's not below the 200 EMA, so that's a good sign there as well, but it's definitely something that has been very much beaten down. So same with like FSR, if I remember this one right. Yeah, very much beaten down. This was a SPAC stocks, of course. A lot of those SPAC attacks got slightly changed due to the fact of some SEC regulations. And a lot of these like Fiskers, again, this is Fisker. So Fisker, these EV companies like went to the moon, and then now it's continually downtrending. Not saying it can't bounce back from here. This is just so early stage. I know the Fisker story itself of like, didn't they go public like about 3 or 4 times already? Like, not just us picking on them, but it's just like, this is not a very good trending stock. I don't know the fundamentally underlying story for this one, Dave, but this is not looking like a very pretty chart at all. Paul, thank you, my friend. I'm doing very well. Hope all is well with you. R2D2, hey Ken, what are your plans for next week? Will you be posting your opinion plays on Discord? Yeah, R2D2, I think I will. But I have to make a very large caveat of like, hey, if you lose money on this, don't come crying, because I've had that issue, and then I've been a little bit, hesitant in sharing my thoughts, because I had not just one individual, multiple individuals saying, hey, can you lost me money? I'm like, I didn't click the button for you, and that kind of scared me a little bit. Not was like they didn't threaten me or anything, but it was a little bit eye-opening in the sense of just seeing people like blindly just go for what, and again, just not following the rules, and then once the rules break and they don't execute it where I would potentially get out of, it's just very difficult to kind of translate that. R2D2. Fisker is an OGEV for rich people. Well, that's the thing with CCIV, right? CCIV is supposed to be like the high-end luxury Lucid Motors that's going to be like crazy for rich people. I remember when I hit this crazy parabolic level here, I was like, anyone who has this, please get out as soon as possible because this is insane. And then ever since then, of course, we've seen that kind of dip down here below quite substantially here, bouncing off here a little bit off that 200 EMA. But this thing, it just needs to kind of find some kind of base. As you can see here, it's still trending lower here. It's below the 50 SMA, below the 21 EMA. It's kind of bounced off the 200, but it's just trying to find some kind of a floating device to kind of stay above ground here. Oh, I know, like Fisker's been around for many years, and they've gone bankrupt like I think 2 times if I remember right. Oh, Mike Lewis says your thoughts on X for earnings this week? Yeah, that's a steel company, right? U.S. Steel, right? Yeah, U.S. Steel. Yeah, this thing is this part of the like insane play for inflation? It's a large commodity. How is this really seeing this grow this fast? Again, if we go into a monthly chart on this thing is really pretty like significant levels here because this stock used to be trading at nearly $200 almost before the crash of the housing crisis in 0809. So this is something to be very mindful about. Like that was an amazing run, but that run from basically 2003 2004 went all the way up to around that 20 to almost 200. Okay, that's when you happen of a crazy amount of growth and just continuous movement in the stock, especially in those commodity stocks. If you remember trading in around that time frame, or just looking at it more of like a history lesson. But sorry, kind of got off topic there. You're looking at for this week's earnings here, so. You said earnings this week. I'm not 100% sure. It looks like it has earnings because it has a pretty high implied volatility this week. So around $2.50 is the potential move here. Yeah, again, earnings, coin flip. You just have to remember that this is a fairly nice, somewhat consistent uptrend, and there is some volatility and some large waves in there. So $23 to almost $24. So we could potentially see a break here into that 26-ish plus range, which is again somewhat of a support level here. If we can going into that weekly chart here, actually goes a little further out, but that 2609 is a very significant level, and then that next level above that would be around 3118. But this is a very much a fairly aggressive trend change here within U.S. Steel here, and really seeing it kind of come back into movement again. How is earnings going to be dictated? How is it going to go? I'm not 100% sure, but it's definitely going to be something to watch out for, and really see on how the potential boost and really hearing the outlook from them could really tell a great story here. Kevin says, thanks for your wins. You're very welcome. Is NET or SE setting up well? I hear a lot of people talking about SE. Wow. Platform took a nice little move. That's fantastic. Not sure what happened, but that's a beautiful move of nearly 10% in a day. Looks like it does have earnings coming up, so you have to be very ready for that as well. Looks like it's not this week. Looks like on May 6th, so the following week. But it looks interesting. So I actually kind of like it. It actually looks really. It's moved up a little bit too much. I'm not a big fan of buying it up that significant amount. Some people like to do that. I'm not that cup of tea here. We potentially see some resistance coming around 85. So let's just do a very short-term Fibonacci retracement here. Yeah, so that 87 to 86 range could be a potential lagger. As you can see here, oh, didn't click it right here. There we go. Oh, come on. There we go. Yeah, so that 88.32 is a very significant level here that you could, that you can see here on the Fibonacci tree. It just barely broke above that 618 here. So that's from the previous swing high to low here on the Fibonacci tree, and seeing it just slightly barely above it. It's a good sign. That was, again, it's a 10% move with a lot of volume, so that's always significant. But again, I'm not in the business of just trying to buy up this high. And not depending on what your position is. I'm a little bit mindful about this earnings, but the trend looks well. Again, it could consolidate here for a little bit, but it looks like if the movement continues and you understand the fundamentals, potentially we could see 88.32 easily with this one. And then the other one you had was SE. Almost the same kind of pattern here. Again, both those have been very aggressive moves that we saw in 2020. The same kind of movement here. Look at this thing. This thing was just very consistent, holding the 34 and 21 EMA for almost the whole year from the bottom. And then until February, the time frame again when people were learning about the 10-year yield note and on what the flip that means and things like that, and people were freaking out for many other apparent reasons and all those kind of movements in the short term. SE is still looking fairly strong here. Again, it's not trading below the 50 SMA. It's continuously trying to get some pretty actions going here. We do see the RSI and volumes on oscillator pretty healthy here. So again, it was up significantly as well on Friday. So potentially we have some overhead resistance around 264.59 there though. So be super mindful about that, my friend. R2D2, I have a stock for you. It's the next Roku. It's a Platform Plus, which works similar to Roku. Vizio is the stock. I'm expecting it to kill earnings next week and reach 50 by the end of the year. Yeah, I saw that Vizio went public. Is this their first earnings then? Yeah, this is going to be the first earnings. So looking at this on the daily chart here, R2D2, there's not too much I can make. Again, it's only been trading since slightly the end of March, so not seeing about a month here of trading data, so it's not significant. But it has telling a little bit of a good trend. It's got its first earnings coming out, so I'm a little bit mindful about that. I gotta give a little hesitant to that. I'm actually gonna break this down to a little bit smaller time frame, the 4-hour chart here, and in the short term. It looks pretty healthy here. So we're looking here around some basic support around 22.85 to basically the 22.25 range to potentially be some level of support there. We could get that nice earnings run because again, you made a pretty good note on highlighting, hey, it's not next week, it's not the following week, it's actually the 11th. So that we still could potentially get that momentum going. It looks like the IV is fairly highly priced, so this is something potentially I would like to sell some premium in if the options are available. So like the May 20s, that's not that great of a premium. Maybe the 2250s, that's kind of too close to the money. But that's got a lot of premium in it. There's not too much open interest, even in the May calls. That's pretty interesting to see. Not much open interest. There's a lot of open interest here on 25. There could be someone just selling premium to protect their stock position, which actually I have to highlight that once. I have to do like an OG Mark Cuban trade, which is quite phenomenal. The Oscars are live today, R2D2, so sadly, a lot of people could be watching that, and yeah. I think a lot of people fell out of the market because I'm seeing a lot more aggressive options trading, and I'm not seeing as much as an interest in a lot of people that I know about talking stocks. That people that I have talked to about stocks the last 3 to 6 months, they're like, I made a little bit of money, I took it off the table, and now I'm gonna buy a jet ski with it or whatever they're gonna do. Dave says, looks at PAVE. Yeah, PAVE has been also a very consistent ETF. This is like the the TAN ETF of 2020. This thing just continues to give, continues to crawl its way higher here. This is not like a crazy stock that's going to be going up 30-40% in a day. This thing just like a nice steady eddy and just goes to the upper right hand corner of the charts. So definitely something to be very much to keep an eye on without a doubt. Money, because we do an SCNS moneymaker. I can do a quick one. It's going to be a very short video. It's going to be very much as like, hey, this stock was parabolic. It's come down substantially here. It bounced off the $1.75 range again, off the 200 EMA range, and really needs to see the earnings, aka the story and the company, actually start backing on what the market is trying to pump into the stock. Again, the stock got a little bit further expectations, but it got reeled in by reality, and it really needs the company to actually start performing and giving great data. Alan, what's up, my friend? Your thoughts on the financial sector XLF? I'm currently in XLF, honestly. I like this sector, again, with even people are saying that we're not going to get higher interest rates anytime soon. Let's be honest, like, there's going to be a lot of money spent. A lot of people are buying things, financing things. Of course, I'm not just talking about the housing market, but this thing, just look at this fantastic move. Of course, due to the overall correction that we saw last year, it just kind of just traded sideways, but then went extremely parabolic here, hitting into that $35 range. Potentially, my next target is around that $39 to $40 range. So again, this is not like a crazy move, but that is pretty substantially from 35 to 40 in a stock like that. It's a very diverse XLF. So you have your banks, you have your Citi, you have your Goldman Sachs, you have your JP Morgans, all within this ETF. So and it does a fantastic job doing it. So I like it. This is the one I'm currently in as well. Because again, you're seeing some support coming in. In the support side, we have some short-term support around $34.38, and then some stronger support coming around $33.70 there. FG says, Ken, can you check out MO, please? Yes, for sure. Oh, not MP, MO. So yes. I don't know what happened here, like, but you can see here, like, it really hit this wall here around $52.64. So where did I get that level? So we go to the weekly chart here. We did a swing high to swing low here, and that 618 is a very, very significant level in the Fibonacci tree here. We kind of talked about this one previously. It kind of failed here and kind of came back down. Now we're seeing it come up here and really failed here fairly hard in the beginning of the week here. I'm not quite sure, again, what is this company? Hold on, what does this company do? It's a company that gonna, oh, yes, yeah, smoking product. Okay, yeah, that's what I said, cigarettes. Yeah, I don't know what happened here. Probably some very bad news. You can kind of see here from that drop of $52, basically nearly gapping down to 45. So that's a very substantial move. You did see it kind of bounce off here, holding that 89 EMA here. With earnings coming out here, what's the expected move for this week? It's around $2.20. So nothing too substantial here to maybe get it back up above 48.50. But again, some damage has been done. I don't know the fundamental story behind this, but there has been damage has been done, and it has not hasn't really reconciled itself before it can kind of make a move higher from there. Hey, Ryzen, do you think I don't think SCNS is a buy currently right now. It's just too much of a rough shape, and I honestly don't know the fundamental story substantially so far behind it due to its very like scattered kind of stuff. Data says, what's your thoughts on QCOM? Yep, they actually report earnings this week as well. So I'm in QCOM, more of a longer term play for me via stock and calls. But this thing has been beat down again with a lot of those technology stocks. We've seen it kind of melt down here a little bit. Did bounce off that 200 EMA quite a few times around that 126 to 125 range. Now kind of just lagging here. This earnings, if it's a huge miss, what's the expected move for this week is basically $7.50. That can easily put us back down to the 130 range, which kind of falls into the 200 EMA. And it starts breaking below that and start breaking above 125, we could get a pretty large correction in this play of QCOM. We'll just have to see on how the earnings is coming out. The last earnings was a pretty large gap down here as well. But then the last other current earnings from that were very large gaps up. So again, talking about flipping the coin here, we just don't know on how guidance is going to present the stuff, talk about outlook, all that fun kind of jazz stuff to be talking about QCOM. But that's a very large range. To really see this get up and going here, we really need to getting it back above 144 to really see it significant move. Dan says, I think BLI may be bottoming. Blackwood's buying it almost every day. BLI. I'm not familiar with this. What's the business on this? There's something terrible happened here. It's a digital cell biology company focusing on enabling and accelerating rapid development by cell-based products. The company has developed a Berkeley Light platform to be able to enhance the environmental of rapid research at single-cell scale. Yeah, this looks like a newer company here, actually. Very interesting to see. Like we talk about, I think you might have a little bit of a good point here, Daniel. We are seeing multiple earnings come through here. If we can get a strong base here and still stay above that $42 to $45 range, we potentially could get a base building block here and maybe see it pump higher here, because you're seeing the 5 and 8s kind of stop selling off here. You're seeing the 21 kind of slowly koozie up here. We have the volume zone oscillator trying to go from negative to positive. RSI is right around in the middle, the Goldilocks area. We have some nice low volume coming in here, potentially an earnings run. I actually kind of like this one. I have no idea. I need to look into this one a little bit more, but I'm going to write it down and add it to the watch list. So I appreciate that, my friend. I kind of like it. We'll see how this one plays out. Yeah, a lot of people like SCNS at these levels, so holding it long term, yeah, as long as you understand, like, it's a little bit more of a speculative trade here. So isolating that down and seeing it that potential is really going to be seeing it play out. If you can really see the full story, because again, when we start seeing it $5 or $6 here, that was something that was just completely FOMO, and just really just that parabolic move that we saw really come through. That was a drop due to chip shortage. MO owns a decent chunk. You said MO or you mean MU? You mean MU, micro. Yeah, pharmaceutical research. That's the thing with pharmaceutical companies. Very, very difficult to kind of play out. Is something to put a lot of money behind. A lot of people are asking about SNES. Yeah, so Yeah, this thing hit that 550 range. Again, this stock was 35 cents, okay? It went from 35 cents to $6. So that's a very large move, okay? Did they have earnings to back it up? Not really. There's speculation of some FDA approval and being the larger market leader. There are some short reports and like negative data about so the company. What they do, they create a people they don't have to constantly check their blood sugar. So they have this patch that is basically pretty much fastened to your arm, it looks like most of the times, and it just connects to your phone and it tells your blood sugar before when you want to eat or when you want to go to exercise or what are the various components as someone that has to deal with diabetes. And not always pricking their finger or how always have to remember or just consistently kind of just worrying about that. This is seamless. It doesn't hurt. It's just there. The negative side of things I've heard is it doesn't stay on the human body very well. There's a lot of disconnect between the app and the device. So again, it's just two sides of the story. I'm more optimistic. I like the story. I like where it could potentially go. Am I in the stock right now? No. Is a good place to buy? I don't know. Like the 200 EMA potentially could be a good place to buy, but I would like to maybe see this kind of trade sideways a little bit and maybe get another earnings out of the way before we start going into this one. Yeah. What's up with the Dogecoin so risky? So Dogecoin doesn't really do anything. It's the same like, well, I guess some people can say Bitcoin doesn't do anything either, but yeah, it's basically it was just created as a meme. GME, yeah, GME, yes. So this thing, of course, GameStop. If you're not familiar with it, or you've been sleeping underneath a rock for the last couple months here, this thing is starting to kind of trend here in a very significant level. So if we start getting it breaking below that 144 and start closing below 144, well, this can easily potentially break to 135 and then even to 125 pretty fast if there is not a significant level of support going through. By meeting levels of support of like most people are still scratching their head and like, they're like, how the hell is this still trading above $150 or $100 at least? Like, there's a lot of traders that I know who are like, hey, why and how in God's green earth has this stock not crashed yet? Because guess what? There's not many people selling. There's literally people are holding on to this, that they are, I believe, movement, folks, which again, I'm not harping against, but I think if that I believe movement starts cracking for whatever reason, that we could get a pretty significant pullback within GME. I think CCL is going to retreat up to the $30 level. Yeah, CCL, so that's a cruise lines. Carnival Cruise Lines. I think, yeah, I think that's actually one of the more substantial things that we saw today that was pretty significant. Because again, CCL, even going into the pandemic, it was trading around $45. There's still really no clear guidelines due to the CDC helping them out on like, hey, we want to cruise. We replaced all the AC units. We're having everyone vaccinated. We're having all this certain protocols done. Can we sail? And they just go, eh. So again, this is not just Caribbean, the Carnival, but it's Norwegian. It's all other cruise lines. Like Disney cruise lines are not able to do as well. So that 30 to 15 is a pretty significant range to see here. But that is a pretty nice level to potentially see it break into that. We do have some short-term support coming around 25.84 to around 25.33. Again, it already had earnings, so it's kind of behind it, but it's really just going to be kind of waiting to kind of get any kind of good news on guidance. Alpaca, what's up, my friend? NNEDF, yes, they're finally being added into the NASDAQ. And I think we talked about this one, Alpaca. I was like, once the day they announce that shit, it's going to have a nice boost higher. Of course, we saw it boost higher pretty significantly. Again, it's going to be priced into that zone. I forget the exact ticker. I did write it down here. What it's going to be trading. I believe was it on the 27th or going so forth. On where it's going to be going and heading. But yeah, this stock has not come. It did come down here pretty substantially, but it didn't come down from like extreme levels down, because most of these speculative trades hit their high in February and then start coming down here. This thing hit a high in December, and then it was just kind of trading sideways for a little bit. It didn't come from $5 then all the way down to $2 in a month. It took quite some time. It took nearly 4 months to kind of get below $2 here on a very large parabolic stock movement higher here. This is definitely something that could be extremely volatile, and this is again something that is extremely risky. Like this is, I need to pull up this window here. This is the speculative trade idea. So this is a super speculative. So this is you're betting substantially on basically a pharmaceutical grade that's going to be helping with a smorgasbord of things, from depression to post-traumatic stress to anxiety, everything, using LSD kind of what's the word? Not luminescent. What is the word? Psychoactive drugs in smaller doses or micro doses to kind of help the human brain kind of level off and kind of deal with things better, I guess. And I don't know the exact science behind it, but it's great technology. And the sad thing is, this area of study has not been studied very much because of the large amount of restrictions the government has been putting on these particular drugs. Of like, even the research people couldn't get their hands on the stuff to make the LSD, kind of not making LSD, but they're making the same kind of psychoactive drugs, has really just kind of been banished for like 30-40 years. It's just like, we don't need that shit, get that out of here. We're just gonna let Pfizer and other companies sell us opiates that kind of help us out. But I'm very optimistic for NNDM with 100%. It looks like David, yes, 100%, 100%. NIO earnings coming up. What do you think it's going to go? I love the EV movement. I don't have the world's greatest grasp on the NIO fundamentals. As you can see here, it's been very consolidating here since that high around in January, basically their NIO day, and has been nothing but going somewhat down and then kind of treading water here. It's trying to get back into the swing of things and trying to compel itself going higher here. We are seeing that 200 EMA kind of come in here for some support around $36 or $36.17 to be precise here, with earnings coming out, I believe, Thursday after earnings. Don't quote me on it, but I think it's Thursday after the close. Again, the Chinese Tesla, whatever you want to call it, I think it's a valued competitor. But in the grand scheme of things, how many people in the U.S., how many Chinese cars are people in the U.S. buying? I totally understand that it's very small thinking of me. I know there's more people in China than there are in the U.S., but there's also a lot of people in Europe that NIO is trying to reach as well. So seeing it on how it's able to move and to come into the global market, or is it just going to be staying in a more regional and staying within the Chinese borders to kind of becoming the king of the king within the Chinese market? So that's the kind of what I want to be looking at. In the trade here, the expected move is about $4 this week. So that can easily put us back up to 45, which you kind of see I have an alert there, which we'd be putting it back above the 89 and the 50 SMA here, which has kind of been trailing and falling against. But we'll see how that one plays out. Again, earnings is very much a coin flip. Daniel's asking for D King holding up. Yeah, D King is DraftKings, also a Kathy Wood stock. This thing has been a very choppy stock to say the least here. If we can highlight this here a little bit, I kind of want to do this particular fib here from swing high to swing low here. It is bouncing off here. I did have a support level here around that 56.28 to potentially that 55-ish range, but it did kind of hold here around that 56.28 range, and potentially, again, with earnings coming up here on the 7th of May, we could easily see this kind of tread water here again. This is something I'm not the most knowledgeable about in the sense of sports. First of all, I don't know much about sports and about sports betting on top of that. It's very difficult. People are like, oh, you bet on the stock market. Why don't you bet in sports? I'm like, sister, brother, that's a whole nother thing. That is not that. Those are two different cups of coffee. Two different. That's not oranges and bananas. That's like comparing an orange to like a T-bone steak. Like those are not even comparisons in my book. But anyways, we'll have to talk about that. But this again, same with the kind of trend line here we're seeing here. We're still seeing it below the 21 EMA. So looks like DraftKings has made a very sharp V-shaped recoveries a lot of the times here. So could this be the time where it makes like a really sharp about face and start seeing it make a really sharp recovery here and potentially runs up to that $62 to $64 range? Maybe. Again, the expected move for that earnings week is about $6, a little over $6 where we're currently trading. That can easily get back above $60 to $62 in that time frame. Maybe get that little earnings boost there. David asks, if it hits 16, I'm buying my wife a boyfriend so I can mountain bike more. Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah, 100% alpaca. It's what I always forget the book. It's the Michael, is it Poland book? I think I've been rereading it. I have it on my, where's my phone? I've been re-listening to it, and it's just like microdosing just sounds so like groundbreaking. Like, yeah, definitely. I'm gonna be doing a deep dive into Mind, without a doubt. I like the company. I like the idea of it. I just need to understand the company much more. Yes, I will bet on the mascot more than the team. 100% the kid. If I start seeing like there are some really weird mascots out there. I've seen there's like beavers, there's some like which is again, I still see a lot of schools that are still that have like a Native American Indian on it, and I thought the Redskins had to like deal with that, and they like I'm still surprised at seeing some things out there, but yeah. SPACs are getting clapped. I think there might be the Six Flag. I think it will be the Six Flags of Sky one day. I don't. Oh, space. Sorry, so space is getting clapped. I think it'll be the Six Flags for space one day. I think it might be a little bit more than the Six Flags. It might be literally the crazy experience of a lifetime here. Again, Virgin Galactic, this thing has really been clapped without a doubt here, Daniel. This thing has been really just chopped in half. Again, this the year that we had last year, ladies and gentlemen, was absolutely remarkable. Okay, absolutely insane kind of markets. If we look at the stock here on the weekly side, again, this was a SPAC at one time. I remember this was a SPAC. It was one of the first SPACs I actually bought, and I was buying it into around like $10, $11 range on this way up here, and then like sold out around basically around 30. and then then I was kind of buying into it here on some of these dips here. I actually kind of like it here, because again, what's really going on here? Like, I don't think people quite understand the story. How extreme can this get? This is also another great point, Daniel. Like, space has been so beat down here. It's not a value play. It's very, very, again, speculative play, because again, how many other companies can you compare this to? Like, do you compare this to like a Northrop Grumman? No, not really, because Northrop Grumman does a lot of stuff out of the aviation and jet propulsion. Is it more like this kind of company? Is it like a Tesla because it does like futuristic stuff? Kind of. But I think a lot of people and a lot of analysts are just trying to wrap their heads around it. It didn't help that the stock went so crazy parabolic here, and then kind of came right back down. I think Kathy Wood owns the stock. Correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe she sold it. I don't know. That this thing is kind of ripe for buying. It is kind of hitting into that range here. I actually like it around that $20 range potentially. Potentially even lower here. But this stock has been beaten up. And guess what? It doesn't mean it has to stop here. It can continuously being beaten up for some time, because again, you're seeing that really aggressive movement. We're below the 200 EMA here, ladies and gentlemen. We are below the 50 SMA here. This is, again, if that trend continues, we can easily see this below $17 to even $15 here. Looks like it has earnings on the 4th. I think they have weekly options for this. So May 4th here, they're expecting nearly a $3.50 move here. So where we're currently sitting at, that can easily potentially put us below $20 here. Daniel's asking for MRMA. Yeah, this is, again, very much in tandem with the old Bitcoin and then like the overall crypto movement. Of course, with Bitcoin, it sold off quite substantially middle of last week due to tax plan or whatever else. I have to remember who joined. Someone joined the my Patreon group, and he's like, Ken, I have $3,000 invested in call options in Riot, actually. Yeah, right, blockchain. And I forget what the call options were. They were like January of like 2021, so they were already passed. But this was like over a year and a half ago. And I said, oh, good luck. And again, that stock was around $1. The guy pinged me back months and months later. He's like, I literally like 5,000x my money. I said, high five, dude. Like, I didn't even do the math at that point. I'm just like, God bless you. Fantastic. What a high conviction right there. Ken, what do you think about UIPath, a call company similar to PLTR? Path. Yeah, so okay, looks like a newer company, so I have no idea. Technically speaking, there's no data on this. It's only been trading for 3 days, so I don't know. If it's similar to, you said similar to Palantir, end-to-end protection. Interesting. I haven't heard of this. Johnny, what's up, my friend? Thoughts on Airbnb? Airbnb, it's Airbnb, right? Yeah. It's treading water. It's not saying it's not going up or down. It's just kind of treading water here. It's kind of in a downward trend here. You see all these like purple dots here. Those are the parabolic SAR dots. Potentially, if we do get a break above this 21 EMA, so basically around a 178 to 180 range, could kind of make this trade or the trend kind of reverse here. But you can kind of see here, just kind of making wave patterns here and really not seeing too much movement here. We're not seeing it sink substantially below here. Start seeing it below 170 to 166. That could be a little bit worrisome. And at the same time, you have to be very mindful. I can't remember, was Airbnb an IPO or a direct listing? Because if it was an IPO, we need to start looking out for the lockout rates. The lockup rates, where insiders are able to sell. That's usually maybe potentially on its second earnings, that we could see some more shares being unloaded. Because again, a lot of the insiders, employees are like, hey, we've been at the company for XYZ many years. I want to unload my 100K worth of shares once I'm able to. So that usually does slightly move the market. A lot of people put a lot of pressure on those days and really could see some market moves within that time frame. So it's always around that 6-month time frame to look out on IPO stocks. So again, if you don't know this, so IPO stocks is the more traditional way of reaching things, and the lockup rate's usually 6 months. A direct listing, basically anyone can sell anything at any time, and then a SPAC, there's no rules. There's no rules in SPACs. I'm half joking on the SPAC stuff. Betsy, I know. mRNA was at 2. It's sad. It's an insane amount of move. Okay, they're more like QCOM than, okay, that's interesting. Betsy, what thoughts on TAP and TAP, TAP? Is that tap out? Mo's. Oh, Coors. Okay, interesting. Wow, what happened to this one? This thing looks like terrible downward trend, and now we're seeing a little bit of love coming in here. It's interesting. Very much looks like it was a beat down move here on the weekly chart. Slightly got me stumped here. I need to put this here. Not sure. This looks like probably most of these larger beverage companies own like a huge trough of different companies within the sections. Like, of course, everyone's like, oh, it's Pepsi. Yeah, Pepsi owns a lot more than just Pepsi. Same with Coke. Like, I'm not sure what exactly this company owns, but it's probably going to be a lot of in the adult beverages kind of section, and a lot to do with the reopening. So we start seeing some more good news about reopening bars and restaurants, and the small business folks getting a better grasp on life and seeing some more movement. This is potentially a nice little play here. We do have earnings on the 29th, so be very aware of that. So the expected move is nearly $4 for that week here. So we do have some short-term support coming around 51.15 to potentially that like $50 range. That's going to be the short-term support, and some more substantial support's going to be around 49.81 and all the way down to 48.57 here for some support levels. To the upside, first levels of resistance around $54, and then that sky limit around 57 to the upside there. Packer, what's up, my friend? Blah, 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 blah. Oh, ARC-X. They're going to write ARC-K. So ARC-X, this is the space fund, which I actually haven't looked back. Alpaca, do they still own a bunch of like really stupid stocks in this one? Because again, this is the one that they own. They own like Netflix. They owned some other weird companies that, to my knowledge, didn't make any sense to be in a space exploration fund, but who knows? It hasn't really seen that much love here. It's a newer ETF. It's a Cathie Wood ARC stuff. Really not much seeing much here. Again, a newer data here. Not much to really go off here. This thing is just a little bit hit and miss here. Again, it's just very much, I have to look into this thing. I don't have really much to say about ARC-X. MJ, what's up, my dude? Bat says QQJ would be appreciated. What's QQJ? Ah, I like this one. I've never heard of it. Huh. What's the next gen ETF? That is no idea what's in it, but the pattern looks really good here. So it looks like it potentially, if it fails to break out here around $33.70 to $34, could be a failed breakout here. But if we do get that movement higher with a potential move here, again, I'm not sure what's actually in this stock. This looks pretty impressive. There's not too much data yet. It's only been trading for about 3 to 4 months, and an ETF that has like 100 stocks in it kind of has to find some kind of grounding here, because again, we're not talking about a boring last 4 or 5 months. We've been talking about a crazy volatile last 4 or 5 months. So this thing kind of does represent that fairly well here, and potentially that top here we saw in February. So again, it's a NASDAQ kind of composite ETF. So a lot of high growth tech pharmaceutical companies potentially. And we saw that double bottom come in here around that 144 EMA. So comparing this to the normal QQQ, there's not significantly that much of a difference here. In that same fact of the QQQ has actually broken out to all-time highs and the QQJ has not. You're welcome, Johnny. What are some SPACs that are alternatives at your moment? No, Joe, I'm actually not looking at any SPACs. The only SPAC that I still kind of own is IPOE, which is Chamath Palihapitiya's was going to be SoFi. And I think that's all I own right now. Oh, I own Bill Ackman's. What is Bill Ackman's fund? I don't have my other account. Bill Ackman SPAC. The one that was supposed to go public, like, or have like a crazy Pershing Square, so PSTA. Yeah, I own this one as well. But I've owned both of them at a very low price. Especially this one has come down quite substantially here, basically highlighting what I've been saying for quite some time of people are just flipping sick and tired of these speculative trades and really being mistreated, honestly. We're seeing a lot of people who are misleading, boosting up a lot of numbers on their SPAC deals and their pitch decks. You saw that, of course, the most famous one, the one we all know, hate so very much, the old Nikola. Of course, this thing was talking about they're having X amount of trucks. We have purchase orders for this. We have all this stuff going at the same time. This thing hit a high. Again, this was last summer. So this was almost a year ago. This hit that $100 range. Then we had the ticker symbol RIDE, which is Lordstown. Same kind of thing. Phony kind of purchase orders. And this thing is trading well below here, around $10 here. And just been completely decimated here. So it's not really the best tail for a lot of SPACs. And you need to be super, super careful out there. Yeah, Redfin has also been one. Redfin and Zillow, even though we've seen like this housing market go absolutely crazy, Redfin and Zillow especially has been just kind of been nonchalant here. It does look like it potentially could be setting up for a breakout, but the only reason it's kind of potentially spooling up is because of that earnings date. This thing could easily, again, go up, down, left, or right on earnings. So unless you have insider knowledge on what potentially could happen, we have earnings on May 5th. They don't have weekly options, so we have to look at the May expiration. So nearly $10 from that earnings move to that level here. So basically up to 75, which would be breaking back into the 55 SMA or the 50 SMA here, which is that red line. But has some support here on the short term around 63, but then also some stronger support around 60.50. Greg B, what's up, my friend? What's the future for the hold of Beyond Meat? Yeah, this thing. Talking about treading water here, like this thing is just like, oh, this thing was just like a beautiful movement in the stock here. When it first came out, it went from 45 to nearly 240 here, and then ever since then has been kind of treading water here. I've kind of fallen away a little bit from the story from Beyond Meat and trying to understanding it. I know that they kind of lost out to Mickey D's, and of course we have some larger competitors like Nestle, which owns Impossible Burger, and then we have a whole slew of so many other companies coming out with their own kind of I'm just going to do fake meat kind of products or meatless products, from meatballs, the sausages, to chicken tenders, to chicken fillets, to grilled chicken strips. Like, it's insane on what's really occurring in the market. I still believe I do eat fake meat burgers some time to time. I just love the Impossible Burger. Judge me on it. I love going to Burger King and getting me a fries and getting me a Whopper with the Impossible meat on it. I love it. I really do. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's nostalgic. I don't know. But I've also actually individually bought the Impossible ground meat and the patties at home, and they taste fantastic, actually. Franklin, hello everyone. Just got in and we'll play back from the beginning later this week. Let's go Tesla. Yes, Tesla. Don't forget, we have that pizza party tomorrow to bring your pizza, your favorite beverage, and we're going to have a grand old time. Listening to some boring financial stuff. Boring stuff that I love. Same with this one. UWMC. Of course, this thing was also a SPAC that has rode and up, but then continuously kind of crashing down here and not really being able to kind of get out of its own way here. Same kind of thing. Could this bounce? Maybe. Could this jump up to $8.50 to $10 again? Maybe. But I don't want to capitulate here. Look at these crazy movements. We saw these same kind of movements with Rocket. Oh shoot, what was it? What's Rockets? Yeah, RT1. Same kind of movement. We saw that hit $40 and then kind of come back down. That's literally what a true parabolic move looks like there. The true SORB. Hey Ken, excited for this week. Should have seen interesting movement. Mind giving a look at HBAM. I'm really considering it as a financial black horse on my portfolio. Interesting. I've never heard of it. Hunting. I don't know what this is. Hunting is a banking holding company. What is commercial and consumer banking services, mortgage banking. So this is like a regional smaller bank. I never heard of this. Financials have been doing fairly well here. This stock has it looks like it did have earnings that kind of gave back quite a bit here. I don't know what the rhyme or reason behind that was, but we could see some short-term support around 1475, which is that 89 EMA here. But if we do not see this kind of level off here, we can easily see it test below 1450 to even reach the $14 range there. But to kind of see this get back in shape here, we need to start seeing this back above 1517 to 1538 though. David S says, Ken, have you seen the movement in Lazy? It's been printing over the past 30 days. We've last at the ticker name, but RV Nation is strong. Yes. I actually I wanted to look at RV stuff again. A lot of people that I know have been buying RVs. They collected a little bit of cash. They put a down payment, bought it straight out. Like, some RVs are fairly not that expensive to like 120, 150. They make like extreme luxury ones that are worth $500,000, and they can just substantially go up if you want marble floors and all. You can go absolutely back crazy with these RVs. But the RV movement, 100%, I'm laughing at it too. I'm not an RV kind of camping kind of person, David. I think you can kind of see that. I don't think I could last outside in the elements unless I had to. But I love AC and I love modern technology, so it's going to be very hard for me to be able to step out of that. Looking at the stock here, the 2256, that could be a breakout here. It did move quite a bit here in the last couple days. This is basically the last week here. But yeah, that 22, let's look at this a little smaller. Wow, that is a hell of a move. Wow. Look, this is a weekly chart. That's insane. Insane. Wow. I got nothing to say. That 20 break of like the 2273 break to 23, we could maybe see it run here, but what's the catalyst here, right? Like what on earnings it kind of shrank down, but why is it still moving here? Like I don't know. What's my thoughts on the SPY? Yeah, sure, without a doubt. So SPY, that's the Standard & Poor's S&P 500. Guess what? We closed at an all-time high on Friday. What usually transpires to that is we see that continuously movement coming into Monday morning. So if we break into like a 5-minute chart, Friday was a nice move higher. We did see that selling pressure coming in the last 30 minutes, people closing out, getting things done. This is more of the short-term trading kind of fanatics that went into this and really saw it kind of shrink down here. With that noted, again, all-time high. Could we get a pullback? Maybe. We do have some significant support here around 410 in the short term, so if it drops nearly $6. So the expected move for the S&P 500 for this week is nearly $6.20. So that would be kind of its short-term support for the week, be around 410 there, my friend. So we do get a break below 410. We could easily see this print to around that 407 range. So be mindful about that. To the upside, 420, my friend. Let's go. Have you been watching the NFT companies, Ken? I'm amazed at the run that the PBL SPACs have found maybe a good short opportunity. Yeah, I do horrible, honestly, shorting bets. I have to know the company, I have to experience it, and I just kind of have to I want to say the word hate. I just don't have to, I don't want to like it. Like, I have to have pretty high conviction in it. Is it a parabolic move? Potentially, but my spidey senses, my thing just don't tingle very well on those kind of moves there. Let's do a couple more here, ladies and gentlemen. Thoughts on CPNG? Ew. What happened on this one? It's like a newer company, huge initial day coming up to $69, and then doing next to nothing, just kind of just trading sideways. Not too much information to go off here because again, it's not really been trading for over a month here, if that. Coming into some support here around that $42 to $41 here. But yeah, I don't know what this company does, but that doesn't look too spicy there for me. Makeshift, what's up, my friend? Beyond Meat burgers aren't bad, Joe. I'm just not. I like Impossible better. RH, what's up, my dudes? NNDF, yes, we're looking for that one to potentially go higher if we continuously see it getting that positive movement into the NASDAQ. Look at Silverstream's Atlantis. Oh boy, it's nice. Silverstream. Is that an RV or is that an Airstream Atlantis? Ooh, that's nice. This is the one. I could go into that maybe, David. But the thing is like I'm a big dude. I kind of need my shower space. I guess again, if you had to rough it, this is the place maybe to do it. It seems smaller. This is like a normal. Looks like a larger Mercedes van, or they're probably like a chassis they put on it. Um, but that looks pretty fancy. It looks really fancy actually. Like seeing this, some of the decor and the finishings. It looks pretty nice. Davidson, Lazy Days has been buying all the mom and pop RV dealerships and franchises, not to mention getting service contracts with RV manufacturers. Very nice. Yeah, RH, yep, we do. Yep. NNDF is definitely going to be trying to do a video tomorrow about them. I want to do some more reading about it. I know the company okay, not too well. I just want to know the company a little bit more before I start talking about it in a deeper matter. Plato, what's up, my dude? What's up, what do? Thoughts on MUDS chart? Ooh, what the? Man, you guys are pulling some winners out here. They feel like this is like a SPAC or something. What happened here on this one? To what got announced here? I thought the whole SPAC attack was somewhat dead here, but that is a this is kind of bringing back like deja vu or like memories from the past in the sense of seeing this kind of a fairly aggressive movement higher here. But yeah, it's again very simple, very similar to what we saw with a lot of SPACs here, kind of trading in between the 5 and 8 moving averages and finding some support around the 21 EMA. Sam, off topic, I would wonder what your opinions on the different cryptos. Yeah, that's gonna be a whole different video. I don't follow too many cryptos, honestly, Sam, as much as I used to back in 2017. What's in the book for FB? A lot of people are saying that FB is going to go higher, Greg, just because they saw Snapchat go higher. I think, again, I went out in public yesterday. I did some initial reconnaissance. I saw a lot of people using Snapchat and Instagram, and I think TikTok. I don't know the interface too. I know the interface somewhat on that. It was like downloaded and played with it and watched some stuff on it. I love watching Costco hauls. That's like my guilty pleasure. But Facebook, I think it still can probably shoot the lights out here. But again, with earnings, coin flip, they always have some kind of pressure going forth for them. We do have some short-term support around 300 or 299, and then some more support around 195 to 190, or sorry, 295 to 294, and then substantially stronger support below 290 to 287 here. Everyone still is pump and dump NNDM. RV electric is something that's, yeah, again, why not, right? Oh, it's 250K for that Mercedes. That's not that bad. You can basically live in it for 250. Exactly. I'm waiting for Bill Ackman's to get his S in a row and start making a nice acquisition on this SPAC here. I think SPACs are still alive, Joe. I just think they've kind of dried up from what we saw previously with all the crazy movement that we saw before. I think you can agree with that. Mike, can I share the script for my watch list? I don't know. I think I paid for these. Let me double check if I think I did. I'm a 99% sure I did though. Flipping charts. Hey Ken, looked at PLTR tonight yet? We have not. Oh my gosh, I'm surprised no one has asked about PLTR. Yeah, PLTR, definitely something that has been on a lot of people's radar. Again, Kathy Wood has made substantially large purchases in this as well here. The chart, of course, we have already had the majority of the lockup dates come through here. We have had it move parabolic, It has not touched the 200 EMA, which I thought it would at this point. I honestly thought it's going to be breaking below 20. It has not. It has proven me wrong, so that's a good thing. I actually own shares in this. But it has been very tight consolidating here. I would consider this maybe a triple base here, very strong base coming in here. Short-term support around 22.15. A breakout would want to see it above 25 to even that $27 range to really see PLTR run. It's just kind of sitting waiting right now. It's just kind of bouncing back and forth here and seeing where the cards land here. Mike's asking, do I own PSTH? I do. I own basically where it's currently at. I think it got down to $21 again, right? Oops. It's at $23.90. Okay, but it's basically almost break even where I am. It's again, I did sell a little bit on the way up. I should have probably sold more. Again, there was no announcement. It was just moved up on fluff. It was moved on hopes and dreams, expectations. Not really expectations. They were just hopes and dreams and rumors. Like nothing to hold any kind of water, hold any kind of weight, and it just kind of came crashing down here. We're still just waiting for Bill Ackman to tell us what him and his fund is buying. Amazon, another stock I love dearly. Talking about being in consolidation mode, this thing has definitely met all those kind of categories here. This again, really seeing it, not really doing much of anything here, basically since last August. Okay, so not almost a year ago, literally, what is that, 9 months ago here, we've seen really next to nothing kind of movement, just kind of trading between 3,500 to 3,100, and it's kind of bouncing in that $400 range, really doing next to nothing here. Potentially, how are people going to be viewing Amazon? Again, Amazon, I see them every day. I don't get a box every day, but I always see the truck driving by. I see Amazon drive by much more than I do FedEx and UPS. What business do they own? They own AWS. Okay, if you're not familiar with that, Amazon Web Services, that makes them the money. Amazon.com, the store and their products, they marginally break even on that. Like it's not much. They make too much profit on it. They're opening up their Amazon Fresh stores, of course, kind of in coinciding of Whole Foods. You just kind of scan, go in. There's no cashier. And you just walk out with the items. If you've got a Coke, a sandwich, and some chips, you just walk out and then it just charges it to your Amazon account. Pretty fantastic technology. Let's be serious. I think Amazon's going to be around for quite some time. I'm going to be telling my daughter and my grandkids about what Amazon was. Johnny says this, can you say, hey, slugging, what? Hey, Snuggles John says, hey. Did I say it right? Snuggles John says, hey. Also, thoughts on Net, John? Yeah, we did Net earlier. Cloudflare I didn't see that fantastic move to close out the week. Like that's a pretty drastic move. I don't know what the news was. I don't follow the news too closely on that, but that was a nice little move, tick higher here, and really seeing it kind of come back here. That 82.50, very key range. If we can get breaking above that, potentially looking for $88 to $90 there. Hey Ken, what are you in cryptos at all? I feel like you'll find VSINs pretty interesting. No, I own very little. So I was very heavy in cryptos in 2017 to 2018. I was into Bitcoin, but I was pretty heavy into Litecoin and Ethereum. I currently do not own next to nothing in any cryptos right now. But I would like to potentially get in some cryptos, especially Ethereum. um, Arc K and Baba, please. Yeah, Arc K, which is Kathy Wood's Arc Main Innovation Fund, kind of stagging here. This kind of treading water, trading sideways here. Of course, we saw this kind of top out, kind of in coinciding with all the hype up of the yields of basically people were like, hey, we're taking risk off on especially the more aggressive plays. Again, Kathy Wood doesn't really play around on just buying like lackluster FANG stocks. They're not. She does own a couple of them, I believe, like Facebook, Amazon, Google, and things like that. But they're pretty aggressive in like very small, low float companies, and that have not really seen too much experience in the open markets. Again, with gene editing, with 3D printing, and they're really just diving into these different material companies here. With RK, we really haven't seen it kind of come back here. It has been kind of trading like the NASDAQ, but guess what? The NASDAQ has already made all-time highs. This thing has not been able to kind of come back into that here. We are seeing a little bit of a bouncing pattern here. Short-term support around 120 to 118. Significant levels to the upside would be around 127 to 130 here. And Baba, I don't have much to say on that one. Talking about a broken stock here as well. This thing, just so much, the news on this, just the continuously onslaught pressure, and just the unanswered questions, to be quite honest with you, of what's really going on there. That $227 potentially could be some short-term support here, but it's just kind of been hanging lower here. It's below the 200 EMA. A significant level to break out would be around 244 or above. But yeah, I'm a little bit concerned about this one. Joe says, what do you think about Etsy or eBay or versus the beast like Amazon? Is there enough room for everyone to strive? I believe so. I think people go to those sites for different things. I think eBay needs to innovate a little bit more. This is my Ghana's opinion. And really kind of rebrand maybe or something. I don't know. I'm not a marketing coordinator over there, but especially Etsy. Like, what do people go to Etsy for? They go to make really high made handcrafted stuff, and really see that kind of grow there. I think Amazon has tried that handcrafted stuff and making their own stores and has not really succeeded at it. So there's definitely enough room for everyone. Do I still own GBCT? I think I do. I think I own that on my long-term account. I don't own it on Tastyworks because I'm not able to trade it. I think I still own this on my other account, Makeshift. The grayscale, yeah. Market Watch, get Elon Musk SNL monologue. I wonder if the earnings will be shit if it needs to go to SNL distract. Exactly. Who knows, Greg B? Like, the earnings could be fantastic, and he can just have a grand old time coming in next Saturday. Plato's is like, hey, what's up, dude? Skills, another ARC investment. Yeah, this is the mobile platforming. This thing kind of got hit hard, right? Yeah, another SPAC trading substantially lower here. Kind of bouncing back here a little bit. We have earnings coming out on the 4th of May, so May the 4th be with you. We're seeing that 1850 potentially trying to get back above that level here. So 1850 would potentially kind of see it kind of coast into earnings, would be somewhat normal here. A really strong breakout would be getting back up to $23.80 to $24 there. I don't know the company directly, and I've never used their product, so I've never really looked into it substantially here. But I remember people being a little bit disgusted by it. eBay needs to cut tie with D. What does that mean? Kumar, what's up, my friend? Any good option calls that you can suggest for this week? Not making a liberal to lose or gain, just some suggestions. Yeah. Actually, Kumar, I'm gonna do. I promise from the bottom of my heart, I will share. But I have to add that disclosure to a lot of people because again, I'm a little bit hesitant, and I do apologize to my fantastic subscribers on Patreon and YouTube. I haven't really posted many trade ideas because I kind of had a little bit of a falling out with two individuals who were helping, where I was giving some not advice, but just like suggestions in what I was doing, and a little bit of back and forth, a little bit of bitter, like, hey, I lost money in this. I'm like, well, why did you cut there? Well, I thought I was going to go lower. Then I was like, yeah, you have to cut your losses fast, but I'm not going to go down that road. But yeah, I'm definitely going to share some more stuff coming soon, Kumar. Oh, eBay cut its ties with PayPal, which has increased its revenue by 2%. um, anyone buying coin? Plato's asking. Yeah, I'm going to wait for that one. Greg says, is Piton ready to recover or more room to drop? And what's the next support level for Piton? Yeah, so Piton, of course, if you're not familiar with that, that is the exercise bike. I think Piton long term could have a lot of strong movement. I just think it's a little bit kind of living off its highs that we saw within the lockdowns we saw, and of course with the pandemic. Theoretically speaking, here it's at a very key support level here, my friend. So if you can kind of see these levels here, these white boxes here, those were previous consolidation here. With again earnings coming out here on May 6th. We do have some short-term support coming in around $100 to $99. So if we get a break below that, that could be not fun in paradise there. So we can kind of potentially look at some levels, wrong, Fibonacci, some potential levels of support to the downside if it does break $100. So if it does break $100, we could see the next level coming in around 93.88. That would be the next level of support for Piton there, my friend. Kumar's saying FPE, Pfizer. Yeah, this thing, nice little move higher here due to the fact of rollout of vaccines, all this kind of fun stuff. Nice movement here again, holding that 21 EMA here. Again, this thing is a very choppy stock. Again, you have to remember, Pfizer is not going to be like. It's a very excuse me. It's a very choppy stock within the pharmaceutical companies. If it starts holding some short-term support here on 38.40 to around 37.82, that could be some support levels, in even back down to 37.45. But if it wants to continue this movement and this aggressive movement higher, we potentially could see $40 there within my friend, within that movement there, my friend. More good news coming on scales. I hope so. Can you do a chart for SOS? Yeah, SOS is a tricky one. This thing, very much like a lot of those like high flyers that we saw, speculative trades, huge parabolic move and then just continuously downward move from in here, and not seeing too much life coming into this. We are seeing some support coming around $3.91. That's basically where the 200 EMA lies there, my friend. Joe, I agree 100%. I think she's very much a genius, but then sees other things that other people do not see. Roblox, yeah, Roblox. I'm not going to be able to give too much because again, not much traded here, and just kind of just been trading sideways, and really just need to see on how that one plays out. Green Thumb Industries. Do I know this one? Another crazy move here. Short term. I'm getting tired here, guys. So around $26, some support there. But you can kind of see here it's below the 21 EMA and the 34 EMA. So it is trying to trading sideways here and maybe trying to make that curvature move here. It does have earnings coming out, so we could potentially get an earnings run here. We start getting a break above $29.50 to $30 there. Johnny, I appreciate that, my friend. I thought more people thought like that, but I need to make it a little bit more direct in that sense. But I appreciate it. Kumar, because Pfizer makes 10 billion other things. Moderna only does that one thing. Disney. I love myself some Disney. This thing has been a little stagnant, like you say, kind of like trending lower here. Hit that $200 range is kind of did next to nothing. I think Disney can go higher here, of course, with the continuously of reopening of the United States and then potentially the reopening of the rest of the world here. People are going to be wanting to, that have been cooped up, want to go out and go ride some elephants, aka Dumbo ride, and aka get some of that $7 churros there at Disneyland or Disney World. But in looking at the chart here, we have some short-term support around 180. Like we said about a lot of the other charts, has been continuously downtrending here. A break upon 186 to 187 would kind of break that downward trend. We could see that move slightly a little bit higher from there. Yeah, SE has made a pretty nice bounce. So on this one, we're going to end on the note here. Very strong movement higher here. It made a very rapid V-shaped recovery here. Really need to see it above 264 to 265 to really get that movement going. But yeah, even on Friday, 5% move in a stock like this, that is a very strong, compelling move there without there. Guys, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I really do appreciate you guys coming out here and watching me talk and jibber jabber about stocks and all the kind of fun stuff about that. To be on the full disclosure list, we're going to be having a Tesla live stream tomorrow. It's going to be after the bell, of course, if you're not familiar with it. Tesla has earnings tomorrow. We're going to have like a pizza kind of party. So make yourself a pizza, order yourself a pizza, bring it to the live stream. We're going to chat, listen to the live conference call, and kind of just do some live analysis and just enjoy each other's company. Again, if there's 2 or 3 people showing up, I don't care. I'm still going to do it. This is what I normally do anyways. I just get a pizza and I listen to conference calls I like to listen to. So it's no skin off my back. If you want to come swing by, chit chat, and have some good times, please do so. And again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for coming out, and stay tuned for more fantastic videos. And I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Peace.